Good afternoon guys and welcome back to a bit of mid-handicap action. Today we are talking about one of the biggest things that you need to practice through the winter, and realistically not in the winter, it is more beneficial in the winter, but in the summer you need to know this as well, and that is how far do your clubs carry. So not go how far do they go, how far do they carry, because a lot of times in the winter now we're getting no run. So if you've got a 180 yard shot, it's no good your 6 iron going 160 yards carry because it's never going to get to 180. In the summer it will, but we need to know in the winter, if we need to carry it the full distance, what are each club in your bag carrying. Ideally what we want to see is a 15 yard gap between those, so 15 yard gap is pretty good. Then you've got your knockdown shots in between, which is another video we'll talk about. But we're going to start with the club that you'd hit full. Well, the first club you would hit full, which is the pitching wedge. So we're going to do another video, guys, regarding wedges and a little bit of a grid of how you can get better at your pitching and how you can score better inside probably 100 yards. But we're going to start with Dave with his pitching wedge. We're going to get the pitching wedge first. We're going to work all the way through his irons this week, and then we're going to go into the hybrids next week and his fairway woods and see where potentially there's obviously some room. Maybe some are too close. Maybe we need to look at those as Dave to buy more clubs, because we enjoy encouraging Dave to buy more clubs. So let's start pitching wedge. We're going to hit a couple of shots here. We've got TrackMan set up, so I will screenshot and put them on the screen. So straight away there, Dave, strike wise, decent strikes, sounded very solid. Numbers will be up on the screen now as me and Dave still look at the screen. Okay, so 113 yards carry, 120 total. So you see there, guys, and now we're back on the screen, is 7 yards difference. So if you've got a pin at 120 yards and it's only 3 yards on, Dave would be hitting it short, Dave would be hitting it in a bunker, he'd be hitting it in water, and it'd be no good. So Dave's going to hit another one. We're going to take the average again. If Dave misstrikes one, if you're out there, if you misstrike them, just cancel them out. Just think about, right, was that a reasonable, was that a good strike? If it is a good strike, that's what we want to take. That one, Dave?
Same, pretty reasonable. Might be a little bit less.
Pretty reasonable, distance-wise. Let's have a look, it's coming up. Yep, a little bit different. So 110 yards carry, going 114. So we can see there for Dave, we're averaging around just over 110. We'd play more for the 110 number, because as a mid-handicap golfer, your strike is probably going to be, it's not going to be good every time, because a pro's normally isn't good every time, but it's going to be around about that. So we're going to play that as 110 yards carry. So we're going to move on to Dave's 9 iron now. So again, when you're doing this, guys, when you are on the driving range, please have clean golf clubs, because it is going to affect it. Dave has just cleaned that, that's why we mentioned it. Have clean faces, because it's going to come off at different speeds depending on how much mud you have on the face of this time of year. So 9 iron now, so we're hoping for a 15 yard gap, 10 to 15 yards. So strike wise, Dave?
Pulled it a little bit, felt it was a little bit off the toe.
A little bit off the toe. Let's have a look then. So on screen now you will see the numbers. 129 yards carry, going 138. So a bit of a pull. So I think that's gone a little bit further than what Dave would normally expect. So let's have another one.
A little bit of a fade. So between them two, they're a good shot.
We've had a pull and we've had a fade, but let's look at it. That's for distance wise. Up on the screen now, 120, gone 129, so closer to that number. So you'd see there, guys, already we've got a 10 yard gap between that. Dave's going to hit one more, and let's see what we get, because that was a bit of a fade. The other one was a pull. We're going to hope that third time's a charm for Dave. A little bit better strike, so that's up there now. A little bit more club head speed, so let's see what that gives us. Hoping around about, perfect. I was about to say hoping around 125. So 100
is the average of the first two as well.
Correct, yeah. So right in the middle, 125 yards carry. That gives the 15 yard gap is what that we should see from Dave's set. That's also going to give us a good reference, because if you've played over the season, if you do hit a lot of shots on mats, your lofts can slightly change. We might start to see that, right, your 6 iron goes the same distance as your 7 iron because the lofts change. You then want to go and get those loft and lie, get those checked coming into the season, so you don't have two clubs that go the same distance. So Dave switched straight over there. So 8 iron up now, Dave. So again, here we're probably looking at, we want about 140 yards carry. So let's have a look at that. First up for Dave.
That was nice.
Nice shot.
Yeah.
So Dave's happy with that. 72 miles an hour, so plenty of speed there. Let's see what the carry is. 144. So straight away there, a 20-yard gap. That was probably Dave's best out of the screws. We saw with the 9-iron we took an average. It wasn't out of the screws. Dave's going to hit another one now, and I would say we're probably averaging around about 140, which is exactly where we want it to be. So very nice, in balance there. So we can see there, guys, on screen you'll see 137 yards carry, gone 146, so the average obviously there between that would be around about 140, so exactly where we want to see it. So Dave's going to grab his 7-iron now. Right, so 7-iron up now, so we're looking at roughly around 155 yards carry here would be ideal for us. Yep. So let's see what Dave's got to offer.
A little bit faded, but a nice strike.
A little bit faded, a nice strike. So I think let's have a look at that one there. So on screen now, gone 142 yards carry, gone 153. So not a bad strike from Dave, but we're thinking we could get a little bit more out there. We want to be looking at another 13 yards. That one, Dave, how was that?
Felt nice.
Felt nice. Similar club head speed, 73 miles an hour carry wise, and you'll see the numbers on screen now. 155, well 144, 154.4 to be precise. So exactly the number we want. That was probably an average strike, yeah. So for Dave there, fitting in exactly where we want. So let's move up to the 6-iron.
If you remember, Chris, 6-iron's the one that I've got no confidence with, and I was looking for a hybrid.
Correct, that might have been on by now. Dave did look at a different club for this, so a 6 hybrid Dave was on the scout for. So let's have a look at this one now. So again, here we're probably looking, we want 170. I'm going to say it's going to be closer to 165 potentially with this club. Reasonable strike, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah. 74 miles an hour, so a little bit more club head speed with it being a longer club, but not carried where we wanted it to. So only gone 142 yards from what Dave felt was not a bad strike. So in again here for Dave. So this is where you might see a club that you struggle with. This might be, you'll find a gap where you struggle with. It might be between your pitching wedge and your gap wedge. It could be at the top end of the bag.
Awful shot.
Not a great strike again from Dave. We can see Dave obviously has the struggles with this club. That is something that's carried 150 yards. It's ran out a little bit further. But in regards to your 7-iron, it's not carrying as far. So this is where, for Dave, we need to find something potentially to replace this club. Okay, so final one with the 6-iron Dave's going to hit here. So we're going to start to see if we can't get this gap, this is where we're going to look at changing potentially Dave's clubs. Next week we're going to look at his hybrids. We're then going to look at another hybrid that could fit in. That is a reasonable strike. Not picked it up, but looking out there, guys, that's pitched exactly up short of where the 7-irons were pitching. It was a very slappy strike. We can see from Dave's averages it's not going to be beneficial. A 6-iron, and we can see why Dave doesn't like it, because it's not something he can strike. So potentially looking at another hybrid, something more versatile at that end of the bag, is something we need to think about. So guys, hopefully you've enjoyed that, but think about your distances, come and get fitted, go and make sure you get your distances done before the season, because you need to know how far you're carrying it in all types of conditions. Next week we're going to look at the hybrids, we're going to look at what we could potentially replace this club with, and the 7-iron might be the longest club Dave has in the bag, and that might be something you consider changing to more hybrids to potentially get rid of clubs that you're not confident with. They're pretty much redundant because you don't want to use them. So, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed that, and we'll see you again next week.
See you soon.